On this week's episode, we'll be talking about our favourite New Year's Eve movies and what films we're anticipating the most for 2021. We'd like to hear yours in the comments below.
New Year's films, I would say, like Christmas films, are a different calibre. There's not many of New Year's movies. No. There is a few, but there's not a lot. And so basically, like I say, it's easy to narrow them down quite simply. If I was to go with, like, if I had two favourites, I'd say one of them would be Peter Hyams' End of Days.
The Arnie film.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it Gabriel Byrne that's in that?
Yeah. There's a lot of people really are quite passionate about Byrne in that movie. I mean, he is he's got a bit of a he is playing the devil. For anyone who's not watched it, I'm sure you all have. But anyone who's not seen it, it was set at the perfect time because the movie came out in 1999. It was basically pre-millennium and
because everyone was petrified of the new.
Exactly,
I remember the
Millennium Bug and all that.
Yeah.
And people decided, it was a great film to sort of end the decade, the century. I mean, Arnie at the time wasn't not on the slide because I've always loved Arnie. I've always loved what he does because of who he is.
It's Arnie.
He's so charismatic. You can't help but love the movies he makes. And before that, he made Eraser, which I was a big fan of.
Oh, I like Eraser.
Yeah,
it's a good film.
It's a good movie,
is that the one with the mad sniper that they could see through walls and stuff? And
there was infrared.
Yeah.
And obviously the crocodiles.
Yes, yeah.
But Arnie came with this movie. I think at the end of the day, it's a typical Arnie film. Arnie to basically save the world at the end of the century kind of movie, and it had a lot of horror vibes about it.
It did,
well.
yeah. I would class it as a horrh film personally.
Yeah.
I would definitely class it.
I mean,
as a
there's
horror
not
film.
many films that you could say Arnie's been in a horror film. I mean, Predator has that horror vibe about it, but I always liked End of Days because of what Peter Hyams, a great director. He did a lot of thrillers during the 80s and he did some stuff in the 70s, but he did movies he did The Impossible by making a sequel to 2001, which was called 2010.
Oh, I didn't know there was a sequel.
There is,
I didn't know there was obviously Kubrick did the original 2001, didn't he?
Yeah, late 60s, and then I think it was early 80s it was, 2010 was released. It had Roy Scheider as from Jaws.
Cool.
Lead star, John Lithgow, and it's a great movie, it really is, and it's a movie he made in that era, and he went on to do other films like Narrow Margin, which is a Gene Hackman movie, and Presido with what was his name? Well, Sean Connery's in it. There's another guy from CSI, Mark somebody, and and that movie, like I say, End of Days was just a perfect way to sort of end the century. I thought. I mean, for films, I mean, it's a great action film, it's a great horror film. It's got a lot of everything, and it's got some great Arnie moments in it. Very one-liners.
Yes.
You might remember the choir boy comment he made.
I've not watched it in a long time.
I won't say it out loud. I don't want to swear too much on the podcast, but the what he says is very Arnold Schwarzenegger. And if I was to go with any of the films, a film that no one really would suggest is a New Year's Eve film because the movie itself is bigger than that. It's Ghostbusters 2.
Classic.
And that was also finished the decade, I think 1988, 89 that year. But that movie. You're a fan of that film, aren't you?
I'm not a massive fan of the first one, but I am a big fan of the second, mainly because Vigo the Carpathian.
Not a fan of the first film?
You know what I think it is for me? I was born in the middle of the 90s,
right,
I was obviously when I started watching film properly, it would have been early 2000s.
Dated maybe or something?
Not even that, it was overhyped for me.
Right,
I was expecting, don't get me wrong, I appreciate it. My son loves it, he's a massive Ghostbusters 1 and 2 fan. But if you said to me Ghostbusters 1 and 2 were on TV at the same time, I'll always pick 2.
I mean, the funny thing is, I know people out there who actually prefer the real Ghostbusters, which is the cartoon.
The cartoon's amazing, that's why.
I think the cartoon, I'm positive, came after the film.
I think it came after the first film, didn't it? Was it? Yeah.
At the end, then it's sort of put in the it was sort of bunged in between the two movies in that time. But I really love the second one. It's got. It felt more comedy than usual, but the Vigo the Carpathian.
Great character.
He had. Again, the horror vibe in that movie was much more I felt more scared watching that film than number 1.
It's terrifying when his face comes out the painting.
Yeah,
terrifying. He kidnaps babies.
Exactly, and it's got, I think Janusz, who plays basically like he's the little helper of Vigo.
Correct me if I'm wrong, what I'm trying to say he's the guy from the Bean movie, Mr. Bean movie.
Yes.
I can never remember his name. Do you know the actor's name?
I don't remember his
because he's in like a lot of stuff that are like really iconic.
Yeah,
but
he's got a look about him, which is, it's his hair is his. If you know his hair, it's got very curly sort of hair.
Yeah, it's like Jerry curls, isn't it? Like on top.
He's got that voice as well, and
he's got the accent. He's meant to be German, is he?
I don't know actually, maybe German or Austrian perhaps, but he's got that character vibe about him, which Vigo takes him under his wing, basically uses him for what he needs to be done,
which is to get the child,
befriend Dana, because basically Janusz wants Dana and Vigo wants the baby.
Yes, Oscar, that's it, yeah. Because he wants to go in, not to sound in a weird way, but he wants to go into the baby, possess the baby.
Yes. Yeah. No, he does. He basically wants to take form.
Yes.
And basically it's like he's reborn.
Yeah.
And then he can just do, I'm guessing, rule the world.
Yeah. Because he's a magician, isn't he? Like a wizard back then, wasn't he?
Like is he Russian, I think, or something like that?
Yeah.
Or Slav.
Eastern Europe.
Yeah, Slavic or something.
Yeah.
Could be wrong. But yeah, he does, like, he's got lots of names, isn't it? Vigo the Butch. And actually, no, Vigo the Butch is, Bill Murray gives him that name.
I mean, that's a name, isn't it, I suppose?
It is a name, but he has lots of names which Egon sort of tells him. And when you sort of hear that, you sort of gives you that vibe of this historical, like,
he's a bad man.
Dictator.
Yeah.
And
he might have done a genocide or two.
Yeah. I mean, those are, but there's definitely those are my 2 go-to films. What are yours?
Well, my first one that I watch every New Year's Eve is Terror Train. Yeah. Which has got Jamie Lee Curtis in. I think I watched that when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
I think it was on BBC 4. Wow. I don't know if that's still a thing. I think it was like 2 in the morning.
BBC 4 horror film, I like that.
Well, I originally watched the original Dawn of the Dead for the first time when I was about 12 on BBC 4 at 2 in the morning. And I got a massive bollocking off my dad the next day because he was like, I heard, like, you, because obviously it's on for 2 hours, Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah.
And my dad's like, I heard you at 4:25 this morning watching films. So Terror Train, it's got Jamie Lee Curtis in. I think it was the film she'd done before Halloween 2, was it?
Yeah, I think it would have been. I think because I remember the story well.
Because it's 1980, Terror Train.
Yeah, Halloween was 78, wasn't it?
Yeah,
and,
I don't know if she did Prom Night though. Was Prom Night after that?
I don't know. I mean, the fog was in there somewhere as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was 80. Because I remember hearing a story that Jamie Lee Curtis actually struggled for work after Halloween.
Yes, I've heard that as well.
And for what reason I don't know, but must have been, I don't know, reigning 80s actresses must have been everywhere. But they apparently Carpenter put her in the fog to give her work, basically, to sort of get her, everyone's getting reminded.
Her mum's in the fog as well. It's Janet Leigh's in the fog.
She's in the fog, obviously from Psycho fame. Yeah. And but I've seen Terror Train once, and I really enjoyed it.
It's the different masks because the killer's got a Groucho Marx mask,
exactly,
and I don't know if this is me showing how young I am, but I haven't got a clue who Groucho Marx is.
The Marx Brothers.
Like I know the name, but like when I watched that film originally, I had to Google it and be like, what? Because everyone Groucho mask. I was like, who's Groucho?
Well, I think it's part of the Marx Brothers. I don't know much myself, but I know who the Marx Brothers are. I'm guessing it's connected. But there is a lot of I love the Terror Train setting.
I like that. It's you got nowhere to go. It's literally a train. You can't escape. You can't jump off a moving train. If you jump off,
you die. If you stay on, you probably will die as well.
I like that was. Is it David Copperfield?
Yes,
he's the magician,
yes.
isn't he? And that was his first film role, apparently.
Right, okay.
That's how they got him on it. I think I might be wrong. Correct me, guys. But I think I read somewhere where basically it said he wanted to get into film, and they were like, "Well, why don't you be a magician on a train?"
I do wonder, because was he a magician to begin? He must have been.
Yes. Well, I mean, he was pretty sick in the film.
Yeah. I remember Terror Train a lot because it just has, again, I was talking in our previous podcast about Black Christmas.
Yes.
It's the perfect horror, film in what it is
in that setting.
Yeah. It basically, like I say, it's, the whole movie's set under darkness in a way.
Yeah.
Because you're in these like carriages. But there's obviously a party going on at the same time.
Because you start off and obviously there's a murder, but no one knows because everyone's partying, and then it's just Jamie Lee Curtis is just fantastic in it as well.
I mean, to be fair, if you hadn't have said that movie, I would never have remembered it as a New Year's film. Even though obviously at the time I knew it was, but I forgot
Because I didn't realise that Americans do that, because I think that's a weird concept, because obviously they don't do that over here. Like, they do, like, go across a state on a train and drink and party. That's a real thing they do.
It's different. I suppose it's like a, I don't know if it's still a thing today.
Right.
Americans, you can tell us if it is or not. But I know the spring break and all that kind of thing. That's what it felt like, spring break on a train.
Yeah. It's obviously colder.
It's quite a good name for a film. What on something there? What was the other one you heard?
Well, have you seen a YouTube channel called Dead Meat?
I know of it. I've never watched it, but I've heard
great
it.
channel. It's hosted by a bloke called James A. Janice. He always says his full name. You can't say just James. It's James A. Janice. And he always puts stuff out around this time of year. And I started watching it New Year's Eve, and he was like, "Oh, there's this film called Bloody New Year," and I've started watching it, and I don't like to watch things if I haven't seen the movie.
Yeah.
And it piqued my interest, and I googled it. It was on Prime, so I thought, you know what? I thought I'll have a little go tonight, and I watched it, and spot on. I think it's going to become a tradition for me again.
Good,
funny enough, it's filmed in on Barry Island at the Butlins at the time.
In Wales?
Yeah, in South Wales.
Wow.
Yeah, we're in North Wales.
So it's British, obviously.
Yeah. Well, the cast is all British except for one girl who's an American.
Right.
And basically, there's this. It starts off like really mad. And here's a little fact here that I found out afterwards from Dead Meat, which you should go check out, guys. And they one of the carnival, because they start off in a carnival, a fair, sorry, as we call it, and they annoy some of the staff by they take the like spark plug out of the waltzers.
Right. Okay.
And one of the guy who's operating the machine is only Big John from Shaun of the Dead.
Wow.
Big John says dogs can't look up.
So what year is this made?
89. No. I'm going to say 89, but I think it might be earlier.
So it's not a new film then?
No,
it's I've never heard of it.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's only, the weird thing was as well, it's only got an 8 point, no, not an 8, sorry, I think it's like a 4.3 on IMDb.
Right,
and I know that's not like the best kind of source to get your ratings on, but I watched it, and it reminded me a lot of Terror Trap.
Right,
Tourist Trap, sorry, not Terror Trap. I mixed Terror Train with Tourist Trap then. Yeah, Tourist Trap, yeah. I thought it was the British version of that personally, because it's batshit crazy. I'm sorry for swearing. You're watching it and like something happens and you go, no, that didn't happen. So like honestly, about 4 times I've rewinded it back and it happened. I was like, oh no, that did happen. That actually happened.
It's on Prime, you said? Yeah?
It's on Prime, yes. You watch it as well, haven't you? Yeah, I highly recommend it. I think I'm going to watch it every year with Terror Train now.
Who else was there? Who was the main actor in it? Was there a main actor?
No, there's no one particular. There was a woman in it that plays the character of Leslie, and I thought she was. There's a kill in it. I'm going to ruin this because the kill is madness. Okay, you know, like in horror films or just any film where you see like somebody strong that breaks someone's neck by doing a 360.
Yes, yeah.
She does a 720.
Wow.
Yeah, so she twists it round. She's like, oh, she's done. Nope. She carries on and does a 720 and puts it back, and he dies. And I just thought, even though it was something as simple as twisting the head twice, I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. That.
They do a similar thing in End of Days when Gabriel Byrne goes into a church and he sees a priest.
I do know what about. Well. Yeah.
And I must admit, I'm not too good at the old heads turning much in movies, but I will check that out because I do want to see it.
Yeah, highly recommend. It's so schlocky, but in the best way. Yeah. It's one of those films where you drink with your friends while watching it. Yeah. Like if you had a New Year's Eve party and you want to watch a film, it's a perfect film to put on. There's a bit where Big John, I'm going to have to call him Big John. He says dogs can't look up. He gets knocked off a boat.
Right, okay.
And because he's a stuntman, I didn't know that. That's why Edgar Wright hired him, because he's a stuntman by trade.
Right.
And he does like a really good stunt. He gets knocked off a boat and falls into some bins. Okay. And after they've done it, I was like, you can't do that to Big John.
No.
But anyway, these teens, they take a boat out and then there's a hole in it and they end up on an island. They don't say it's Barry Island, but they end up on this island and then, loads of weird things. I don't even want to give the synopsis of it because it's one of those films that when you find out, you're like, that makes no sense, but I love it.
So we're going to talk about the three films each.
Yeah, we're going to do sort of like the same format as our Christmas special.
That we're anticipating this year. But the only problem is that we don't know for a fact these films are going to come out.
Yes.
Because we're still not sure, because everything, even with our own cinema here, Wicked Cult Cinema, at the little theatre in Rill, we're still not 100%. It's going to open this year. We hope it will. Yeah. There's a lot to be said for 2021 because 2020, as we know, was an awful year in terms, well, in lots of ways, but really bad for film.
Yeah, very bad. Yeah.
Obviously,
Well, two of my films on this list were pushed back from 2020.
Yeah, I think actually. Two of them I think were definitely meant for 2020 that I'm going to mention.
Right.
And one was due out this year anyway, so
Okay.
that's okay. But all that aside, we're going to give you the 3 films each, and my first one, call it number 3, it's a different film, and it's going to be a fascinating film. It's called The Green Knight.
Is that the one? No, it's not Edgar Wright, is it? Who's directing that?
No.
That's another one of your films, isn't it?
That's another one. It's by a director called David Lowery, and he's a very interesting director. He came out in 2010 onwards, and he did make stuff before that.
Right.
But he sort of became like his first big outing was a movie called Ain't Them Body Saints.
Okay.
And it was starring Casey Affleck, and it was a bit of a weird movie. And then he went on to do another film with Casey Affleck and Rooney Mara called A Ghost Story.
Is that the one with he's walking around with a sheet on his head?
That's right.
That is on my watch list. I'm not going around to watching it yet.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I think. Don't quote me on this, but I think it's an A24 film, and Ghost Story was.
Right. Okay.
And The Green Knight, which is coming out this year in the summer, is also an A24 film. And for anyone watching, you obviously and you, Chad, will know most of all that. A24 are a very horror-based production company. But they also do a lot of other movies that are sort of like, a bit of a twisted tale. They were very famous for doing, The Witch when it came out in...
The Witch.
The Witch in 2000.
That's Robert Eggers' film.
Yeah.
Great director, great director.
Yeah, I mean, he's... I think he's... Is he 20s? He was late 20s when he made The Witch.
Oh, really?
Which is depressing, really.
Yeah.
Not for him, but for us, because obviously to create something like a film like that during that
I've still
age,
got time.
You still got time? Oh yeah, he's in mid-20s.
I'm 25, yeah.
Me, to not be discussed. But still, it's a whole, The Green Knight is based on Arthurian, an Arthurian story. And I'm looking forward to it, because I'm a big fan of Excalibur. My father is a antiquarian for Arthurian legend. Okay. And so it's going to be amazing watching, it's based on a story, I believe, The Green Knight, or a poem. I believe it's based on a poem. I could be wrong, but positive it is. And basically, it's, I don't actually know what the story is. I don't. I've seen the trailer, and it's just got this bleak look about it. It's like, medieval times, and, the cast is, the lead star is Dev Patel, who, was mostly famous for
Slumdog Millionaire, yeah.
And films like Lion, which is a great film.
Obviously, Green Knight, you said it was called.
The Green Knight.
I did watch the trailer, and I got, I looked up a bit as well. I got a horror vibe from it. Is that what it's coming across as? Because
I'm not sure.
To me, it's like you're probably about to say, sorry for putting in, but it's got a bit of both. When you're watching the trailer, it's like, isn't it?
Well, because of the A24's connection to it, it's going to have some sort of
scar.
Yeah, because A24 they made Hereditary,
Midsummer,
and like I say, this movie it's got like a culty vibe about it. It's got like how do you put it? It's like a mystery movie, but like set in the medieval times, and it looks like it's going to be a slow burner, I think. That's the vibe I get from it. But David Lowery, it's interesting, because he is actually a bit of a Walt Disney boy as well, because he did Pete's Dragon, the live action film, and I think he's making, as we speak, a Peter and Wendy movie, but Peter Pan.
Okay.
Live action film. So, like I say, he's a man of all trades. He's gone from this to this.
A jack of all trades.
Very much like a bit of a like a different genre sort of thing. I like that, because I think all directors, if they can, they should all they always mix in, try and make a film of all genres if they can. Yeah. And but The Green Knight is my number 3.
Yeah, I didn't know about it until we were speaking, and obviously I watched the trailer. I don't like watching trailers either, Rob, so I've done it for you. I've done it for you, my man.
The interesting thing about The Green Knight, it doesn't tell you that much. It tells you it's a quest, it's a search, it's someone looking for the Green Knight, and it's based, and I know Dev Patel is playing Gawain, who is one of the Knights of the Round Table, in the mythology of King Arthur. But no, I think it's going to be, because of my connections through my dad, and my love for Excalibur. It's a movie that I'm really excited about, because over the years we've had a few King Arthur movies that have been okay, but they haven't worked out very well.
Is your dad excited for it with him?
I showed him the trailer. But it was in a car on a phone. But my dad knew of what they were going with.
Okay.
Away.
He knew the story kind of thing. Yeah.
I mean, I think he was aware of the book or the poem that's based on.
Okay.
I think it was anyway. And I think that's what brings me, like I say, his passion is sort of like becoming my passion as I get older. And it's because I was brought up on Excalibur, you know, I'm aware of the story, and this is a different sort of tale of the story. It feels a bit like the Holy Grail quest in a way, because it's a man looking for something during that time. But no, I'm really, you know, like I say, if you the trailer doesn't tell you that much.
No, but you get a sense when you're watching it. This isn't just going to be a Knight's Tale. This.
Yeah, I did. I actually read. Look, I mean, if you want to look it up, you can. But I've actually seen who's playing the Green Knight in the movie. I'm not going to tell you, but if you watch the movie, actually, I'll tell you, because it says on the cast list, the Green Knight.
Okay.
It's Finchy from The Office, the UK. The Office.
Okay, I've never watched UK Office. I'm a US Office man.
Okay,
yeah.
Trust me. Well, we've seen The Witch, isn't you? Because he's actually the father in The Witch.
Oh, he's got the deep Yorkshire accent.
Tall,
yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. I didn't know he was in The Office. To be honest with you.
That character who played Finchy in The Office also was in The First Knight, which is another Arthur film, King Arthur film from the mid-90s with Sean Connery, a Scottish King Arthur. But like I say, that's the Green Knight is going to be, I think, you know, a bit of an underground indie film coming out that's going to be talked about quite a lot.
A24 films normally are, though, aren't
they always bring an interest in any film fan. I think, you know, when they make a movie, you sort of stand up and listen. Yeah. Sit up and listen.
Did they do Robert Eggers' Lighthouse as well, then? Was that who they released that through?
I'm going to say yes, but I'm not 100%.
I think they did, to be honest with you,
You think, you know, because of the popularity of The Witch, it's probably I would say that would be happening through them.
Yeah. Right, my number 3. My number 3 is a bit of a... I don't know, I'm not too sure about my own number 3. I'm excited, but at the same time, I'm not. Okay. It's Spiral. Yeah. Because they're remaking the Saw franchise, aren't they? But my problem is the cast and the director. It's Chris Rock. Yeah. Funny guy. Yeah. Loved him in Dogma, specifically. Obviously, Samuel Jackson's in it. Yeah. But my problem is they're remaking a film that came out only 20 years ago.
Is Spiral a remake?
Well, that's what everyone's saying. It's a well, that's what I've read. It's a remake. They're meant to be.
So are they making a remake, but with the added franchise of Jigsaw involved?
I think that's what they're doing.
Because it's definitely I've heard of a film called Spiral before,
which is the one on Shudder.
Yes,
very good film. Have you watched that?
Is that the same?
No, different film. Different.
I've not seen that one. No,
that's a very good film.
But because I mean, I remember watching the first Saw film, and I was just like many others. I think in a way, the first Saw film rejuvenated the horror.
Yes, definitely.
Horror films in general, because I think at the time, I mean, the 90s, we had all the 90s slashers, which everyone... I'm a big fan of those movies. Scream, I know we did last summer, Urban Legend. Yeah. And then, like, sort of mid-2000 era, like, there was not a lot going on, and I remember when Saw came out, and everyone... I mean, it was the introduction of James Wan. Yeah. And everyone was just
Lee Winnell.
Yeah, wrote the screenplay, didn't he?
And he was the main actor in it. He was the other lad on the floor. Yeah,
that's right. Yes.
With what's the other guy from Princess Bride? What's his name?
Carrie Elwes.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
But that movie is with Tobin Bell. It's like I said, at the time when it came out, I was like many, I'm sure, I was blown away. It wasn't just a horror film; it was a thriller. Yeah. It had that twist and turns. You never saw it coming. It was just a joy to watch. Yeah. And I've seen number 2, which I really enjoyed.
I like number 2. Number 2 doesn't get as much love as it should, I think.
Number 2 got a director's cut on DVD, and to me, if a film gets a director's cut, there's interest.
Yes, yeah.
But I'm looking forward to it, because I think what they're doing with Spiral is a bit like what you've got with like David Gordon Green's involvement in Halloween. You know, David Gordon Green's not known for horror films.
No. Because he did Pineapple Express, didn't he, David?
Yeah, and Danny McBride, who's also known for his comedy.
Yeah, he was in Alien Covenant as well, though, wasn't he, Danny McBride?
So So when I heard the involvement of these guys, everyone was like thinking, in regards to Halloween, why?
I'm sort of hoping they go down an angle like basically how Danny Glover was in the first one.
Yes.
But they basically follow the cops instead of, everything else that's happening. Basically just showing like them like sorting out the murders. Yeah. Again, I don't really like to watch trailers and things like that, but obviously with this I have. Yeah. And again, it doesn't really give much away.
No, I mean, you get little snippets here and there of what it could be about. But what I love about Spiral is that it's Chris Rock's involvement, because you would never put the two together, because Chris Rock has always been comedy, stand-up, and he brings out that character, and to see him do something different, I admire that in any actor, director, to go out of the comfort zone, try something different, because it paid off. for Danny McBride and David Gordon Green when they made Halloween.
Well, it's like you're saying with your number 3 film, he also does Disney films. It's
Exactly,
being a jack of all trades will help you in your career.
I think so, yeah, and I think it's always good to step out of your comfort zone because I think it makes you either better director or actor or actress. It will make you better at your craft.
Yeah.
And but Spiral, that's a great choice.
I'm hoping as well that obviously as well as Samuel Jackson, very funny man. Yeah. Chris Rock and I'm hoping they put maybe some dark humour in it. Like a black comedy kind of thing where it's like, oh no, but they make it funny. Like Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I want it to be funny as well.
The trailer gives off like a very dark vibe. Like it's going to be a proper horror film.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing. Like I say, I think I said it on the last on one of the last podcasts about comedy and horror. I don't mind it.
Yeah.
But I think with something like Spiral, because hopefully it's going to rejuvenate that franchise. That's what I got a feeling it's going to do. It's going to bring at least like maybe a trilogy or like a couple of sequels, but not in the same vein as the Saw movies because I think it got a bit silly towards the end.
It ventured. The problem with Saw is it went from groundbreaking to torture porn.
Yeah.
And there's many names for it, but torture porn or gore now. That's another one. I like gore now.
That's a thing.
Yeah. Like don't get me wrong, they're films that I watched.
Yeah.
But if I could live the rest of my life only watching Saw 1 and 2 and not be bothered about the rest.
I think to myself, even though...
What a wonderful world.
Yeah. But I think also if you sort of, if you put in, imagine a world with just one Saw film.
Okay.
I don't think you get Spiral because...
No.
I think for Jigsaw's, character to sort of become, as it is, we know it now, to be like a legendary... he's joined... I'd say Jigsaw has done enough now to sort of join the likes of Chucky, Jason,
100%.
But I think if we had one Saw film, then that would not be the case now. You wouldn't be getting Spiral because there wouldn't be enough mythology to go through on that character. But what I do love is that Saw 1 stands on its own so well.
So well. Like the ending to this day, like I remember first watching it and then when you see it, you're like, no way, it's happening.
There's still, I've seen it twice, I think, and I think if I went to watch it again now, I probably would, there'd be bits I would have forgot because there was so much going on that last 10 minutes. I mean, the whole movie obviously it's all clues, isn't it?
I love how fast-paced it is as well.
Yes.
You're watching it because you wouldn't really think with two men being stuck in a room it's like the Danny. I was going to say Danny Dyer, the Danny Glover bit. Sorry, not Danny Dyer.
It might be in Spiral.
Yeah, I hope not. They're so fast-paced, and I love that about it with Danny Glover. And then you've got the guy who was in. Is it Lethal Weapon 4? He was in.
Danny Glover?
No, the...
Chris Rock,
Yeah. Was he in Lethal Weapon 4? I think he was, wasn't he? Yeah.
He was the son-in-law to be. The most important thing is that it's a fresh take on it.
Yes.
And that's what I think all franchises need. Eventually, sometimes you will milk them for as long as you can, and then a few years later you've got to rejuvenate them.
Yeah.
And I think this is the way to go about it. I think I wasn't excited about Halloween when it first got announced because of David Gordon Green and Danny McBride. And then when I watched it, I loved it. And so now anything like that's getting made, I'm not going to be so against it. I'll be thinking...
I was the same.
Let it be.
Yeah.
And
because
hopefully...
you've got to think though, and I don't even care if I annoy people with this next statement. The remake of A Nightmare on Elm Street was awful. I can't stand that film. It's mainly because what they did to Freddy.
Yeah.
They turned him into the Jimmy Savile of their universe, and it really annoyed me.
I saw it once, and I didn't care for it. And
they didn't need that. They didn't need that.
I somewhat didn't care for it to a point where, I couldn't bring myself to go and sort of watch it again.
No.
I hated it so much.
I watched it for the third time, I think, the other week. And I think if you took away the element of him being a paedophile, that they put... He just, at the end of the day, he murdered children, that's bad enough. You don't need to make him... do you know what I mean?
Maybe they tried to... I mean, but the ethos of Freddy is...
But the original concept, he was meant to be, wasn't he? That's what Wes Craven wanted. But it worked as him just being a child murderer. Yeah, he didn't need that added shock value.
It's terrifying already, but I think... It's a shame as well, because they underused the man who played Freddy in the...
Jackie Hill Haley. Great. Rorschach from Watchmen.
And I think that was... when I saw he was going to play Freddy, I thought, I can see it.
Yeah, I think he played a great Freddy.
Yeah.
I think if they took away the CGI that they did, that he would have been the perfect Freddy.
I think it's not what you would expect. But then again, I think a lot of people were against the whole thing from the start because Robert Englund, of course, is Freddy Krueger through and through, and even talks of Kevin Bacon.
I was just about to say, I think he should be the next Freddy.
You can see it, that face. They've got that, I mean, I don't want to say he's ugly, but he's got like that, I don't know, he's not ugly, of course, but he's got the shape.
Yeah.
It's the shape of Freddy.
At first I thought you were going to say he looks like a child murderer, but I realised where you were going.
No, he's got like, Kevin Bacon's got an odd look about him.
Yes.
And that's not
not a bad thing at all.
Yeah, not saying it in a horrible way, but he's got a look about him that is different.
Yeah.
Have you seen Sleepers?
No, I haven't, no.
He plays a prison guard in it and happens to be a child rapist in it. And,
I have read this, I was reading it the other day because it's Brad Pitt in it.
Brad Pitt, Jesse Patrick from
Yes,
Boys.
yeah.
And like I say, he has the element to become the good guy and the bad guy, and I think he could pull off Freddy perfectly.
Definitely.
But it's
Hollow Man. He's horrible in Hollow Man, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got that. He's very skeevy, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's creepy.
Right, we're off topic again. Not like us. So let's get on to your number 2.
Number 2 is I'm excited. Again, I don't know much about the movie.
Right.
I know enough about it, sort of thing, but. It's Last Night in Soho.
That is the Edgar Wright film.
Yeah,
I knew you had an Edgar Wright film in there somewhere.
And the main reason I'm excited for it is because I'm always excited for Edgar Wright films. And it's not because I like him, it's because I don't like his films.
Okay.
Now, I do and I don't. So, the first one, obviously Shaun of the Dead, amazing.
It's perfect.
Loved it. And I love Hot Fuzz.
I love you hate World's End?
Yes.
I hate World's End as well. It's fine.
I hated it because my friend and I, Frenchie, we went to watch The World's End at the cinema in Rhyl, at The View, and we were buzzing for it because we were Spaced fans and we were fans of Frenchie was a Space fan. I've seen it, but I don't remember much about it. But he always talks about it all the time to me, and it always reminds me how much I enjoyed it when I first watched it. But I need to rewatch it because very hazy memory. But when Shaun of the Dead came out, it was just amazing, and it took the genre to another level for zombies.
It did, and comedy horrors. It took it to another level for that as well.
Yeah, I mean,
because you could argue, I don't know if it's because I'm British and I get the humour a bit more, but that to me, I could put that film on any time and I'll still laugh at every scene.
It's a classic because it brought the attention to America, to British cinema, and that is a very important thing. And Hot Fuzz, I loved. World's End, so we were going into World's End buzzing about
expecting Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead.
Just expecting something good.
Okay.
And to be fair, I did like it for, say, the first half an hour, 45 minutes. You've got, Martin Freeman, you've got Nick Frost back again, obviously the dynamic duo. You've got Paddy Constantine, Eddie Marsan. And the problem was that it just went silly.
Yes.
And then, since then, so The World's End, didn't like it. And then Scott Pilgrim vs. the World came out. I was buzzing for
always
that.
forget he did that.
Yeah,
I always forget that.
It's a weird. I mean, it's not a weird film to be made, but it's because that was his basically flirtation with America, because obviously he became popular in America through Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, and he became pals with Tarantino, George Romero. He's actually in Land of the Dead.
He is, yeah, with Simon Pegg as zombies, yeah.
And but when I watched The World's End, I hated it. Scott Pilgrim, I was buzzing for.
Yeah.
I was really excited. The trailer looked great.
Are you a fan of the comics?
Never read the comics.
No.
But I was a big fan of Michael Cera. He just made Superbad.
Great film.
And I just was really looking forward to it. And then again, that disappointed me. I just thought it was too, all the characters annoyed me. I didn't care for them. And then he went on to make Baby Driver. And to be fair, I'm judging a film. I shouldn't do this. But I watched about half an hour and I just turned it off. I hated it.
Most people say about Baby Driver is that the soundtrack's the best thing about it.
Yeah, and that's not.
That's all I hear about that film.
If a soundtrack can save a movie, then that's not a good sign. I mean, soundtracks can make movies. That's correct. But I was watching the movie, and I am going to go back to it. I don't plan to. If I don't like something, it doesn't mean I'm going to completely disown it forever. I will go back. But when I watched Baby Driver, I just could not get to grips with it.
Because that's got quite a heck of a cast in it as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, Kevin Spacey.
I was going to say, I don't know if that's a good thing. Jamie Foxx.
John, I can't say his last name, Punisher.
Okay, yes, okay. From the Netflix Punisher, yeah.
And John Hamm, Mad Men. And so going into Last Night in Soho, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Because like every film that he makes, I'm buzzing for it because he has made great films.
Yeah.
He has. So in my opinion, though I'm not a fan of his latest work, I do believe he can still bring a great movie.
My problem with is it Last Night in Soho? Is that it's billed as a comedy horror, and I feel like I don't want him to try and make lightning strike twice and try and do a Shaun of the Dead for audio or everyone, because I feel like Shaun of the Dead, you could never do that again.
Yeah,
I feel like that came out at the perfect time.
It was
for everything, and I feel like if he tries to do that again, I feel like it won't go well.
Again, with Shaun of the Dead and Saw came out relatively similar time.
Yeah.
Those movies, helped along the horror genre, and since then, obviously, that's not what... This is really, I suppose, his first... I was always under the impression that it was going to be a horror film from what they talked about in interviews and stuff, that his next movie would be this. But, again, I don't know much about the film, but again, I like the title.
Yes. And Anya Taylor-Joy's in it as well, isn't she?
Yeah,
from The Witch.
And she's just hot from the Queen's Gambit as well. So she's, at the moment, she is a very talked about actress. And she was in the New Mutants movie that came out just before during lockdown.
I don't know. I was out yet. I need to watch that. I didn't know.
It came out in cinema. It was in real. But yeah, she is at the moment she is a main topic as like a new up and coming actress who's doing great work. So I'm excited to see her in it, and it's got Matt Smith. And I'm not a Doctor Who fan. So
I was going to say, is that someone that played Doctor Who?
Yeah,
I'm not a Doctor Who fan
either. I never really watched it apart from the Sean Pertwee ones. But that might be a good thing for Doctor Who fans.
John Pertwee played. Well, Sean Pertwee's his son, isn't
Sean's
it?
his son, correct. He might have been an actor.
He was in Dog Soldiers.
He was. I'm thinking of Wurzel Gummidge. He is Doctor Who, of course. Sorry. But if you watch, like I say, going back and you watch, a lot of these movies that, cause even though I've not enjoyed all of Edgar Wright's films, I have enjoyed little parts of them.
Yes.
I mean, I took a few scenes here and there from Scott Pilgrim, which I thought, good, but sadly the bad outweighed the good. Yeah. And I just could not get to grips with it. So but like I said, I know there's a great director there, and I'm not saying he's not a great director. He is. People will argue the point, because I know a lot of people love Baby Driver and they love Scott Pilgrim, but I just could not get to grips with it. With those films.
A quick one on Edgar Wright still, with End of the World, was it? The third one in the
World's End.
The World's End. My problem with that film is that Nick Frost and Simon Pegg swapped roles.
Yeah.
Normally, Nick Frost plays the idiot, slacker friend, and Simon Pegg plays the straight-legged friend that's trying to sort them out. And I feel like that's where they went wrong.
They definitely... I remember when we watched it in the cinema, Frenchie said how much he disliked Sean Pegg's character. How much he disliked... everything about what he was. I think if you, like you said,
if Nick Frost's funnier than Simon Pegg, that's the thing. I think. Personally.
No, it's an excellent point actually, because I think if you did reverse the roles, it would have been, you would have looked at it probably differently. Even though it didn't bother me too much, but I could see, Frenchie's point. I completely understand what he meant, and like when you said that, then I've never thought about it actually. Yeah. But yeah, if you did swap them over, it would be a different movie.
Because you think of Ed from Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
And. Yeah. Messes up all the time. He's a bad friend, really. Danny from Hot Fuzz, not very smart. No. That's who he plays, and he plays it to a T.
And it's part of a trilogy, which I think is, sadly not a trilogy to, as in it's not something I would want to be owning as a trilogy. I'd rather own the first two films.
Yes, I'm the same. I don't own World's End.
But I think Last Night in Soho has got promise.
Yes.
I think it's set in the 60s or
70s. I watched the trailer because I didn't know about it until you said.
Was it a trailer?
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, I watched something.
Oh, well, I've never seen the trailer, but it could be out there.
I watched something that said it was. It had like the thing at the end. But you know what people are like? People make their own trailers. I might watch something that wasn't.
To be fair, sometimes that actually looks better than
I might have not, but because I didn't know about it, like I said, and I typed it in and I watched something. Yeah. Might not be. I might be completely wrong then.
But I think with the with what they do, as what he does in movies, I think, like I say, he can put something together something very special. Yes. So
fingers crossed.
I'm certainly excited for Last Night in Soho.
My number 2 is Halloween Kills.
Yeah.
Obviously Halloween. Yeah. The remake, the 2018-17 one, was it?
Yeah.
Where that I thought was really good. Brilliant. I didn't, again like you, I didn't have much hope for it. with who was directing, who was writing, I thought, oh, it's just going to be comedy, like bad joke after bad joke. Even though I do agree that they didn't need the little kid in it, because I thought the little kid took me out of what I was watching.
Was this the little boy who she was babysitting?
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, his bits were hilarious, but I forgot that I was watching a Halloween film when it happened.
Yeah, that's the problem, I think, with horror films sometimes.
Yeah.
Again, the comedy side of things, because, you know, we all know Halloween is just Michael Myers, depending on what sequel you're watching or the original. Like, if you watch the first films, it's basically perfect. It's the Michael Myers you want to watch. But as time went by,
Resurrection.
No one can see past it because it exists.
Yeah. Busta Rhymes knows Kung Fu.
Yeah.
Why does he know Kung Fu?
I don't know, Wu-Tang Clan perhaps, they're big Kung Fu fans. But the whole Halloween, like, when I heard John Carpenter was doing the score, along with
beautiful score, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, his son Cody was involved, and Daniel Davis was involved, and they created this amazing score that really did make, you know, an extra special film. And the film was well directed. Some of the shots in it are fantastic. There's a scene in the movie when the bus that's carrying Michael and the other inmates, it tipples over, and then the little boy gets out with a gun after his dad's gone to have a look. And his dad sadly has been killed in that time. But there's a shot when he's looking at he's got the gun, the rifle, and he's looking at the bus, and you sort of see the mist and the darkness, and you know Michael's around somewhere, and it's just, you know, I'm buzzing for the. I did hear. This could be internet, like, you know...
this could be like my Night in Soho trailer that I watched.
This could be internet rumours, but apparently I did read there was a lot of talk about preview screenings for Halloween back in like March, April time.
Yeah.
Because obviously the film was being released October 2020.
Yes, but it didn't, sadly.
But now it's going to 2021, hopefully. But the buzz was big for it.
Very.
So I'm hoping a lot's going to come from Halloween Kills.
Well, the end of Halloween, to me, I thought... I'm glad they're making more, because I think they're a great team, but I also think they could have ended it there.
They could have done, yeah.
I liked how, the house wasn't to protect him, it was a trap.
I think, in a way, they probably maybe thought of ending it, but they maybe were surprised of how well it was received. They probably thought, I mean, Blumhouse probably went, you know what? It was well received. There's still, you know...
There's a fan base.
We've still got something to go with here. And to be fair, I was happy they announced it, because even though I did enjoy it, it didn't feel like an ending.
Well, they announced two, didn't they? They announced Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends.
Yeah.
So I presume it ends and Halloween ends.
It's got to, but the funny thing is, you'd be shocked if Halloween ended. I can't imagine no more Michael Myers films.
Well, they tried that in H2O.
They could sort of reboot it, perhaps.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
But I'd be shocked if we don't see him again after Halloween ends. I hope we don't, but it might end so perfectly we might be happy with that.
Well, that's the thing, and it's getting the perfect ending to make fans go, you know what, I don't need any more.
That's why I was happy they announced Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends.
Because I was happy with the ending of that Halloween, though, with the way they'd done it.
I liked it, I did. And you can see how that would be the end of Michael Myers. But then he burned in Halloween 2, didn't he?
Yes.
But then again, Halloween 2 does not exist in this world.
No, not in this timeline, because he's not Laurie's brother in this timeline, is he? That was a rumour.
It was a myth, wasn't it? No, I think it's going to be a special movie. I've got a lot of hope for it. I'm really looking forward to it.
What's your number one?
Number one is going back to a film I mentioned before, and this time it's Ghostbusters Afterlife.
I'm very excited about this as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think this movie has to be made, because when they released the all-female Ghostbusters, which I genuinely enjoyed.
I like it. I don't know what people... It's alpha males that don't like that film, and that's the problem.
So, yeah, the internet can be a very hateful place to be, and I think on that movie in particular, they really hated on it. Yeah. And to be honest with you, the last 20 minutes of Ghostbusters, the Paul Feig version, I think is some of the best Ghostbusters action I've ever seen. You know, they go all for it, and because if you think about it, there's not much Ghostbusters action in the movies towards the end. They're always in the middle. Like in the first film, they take on Slimer in the
hotel,
and there's loads going on. And then in the middle of in the courtroom scene in number 2. The Scoleri brothers.
The Scoleri brothers. I was trying to think of the name.
They pop up, and there's a lot of action going on, and there's a bit obviously in the ending of 1 and 2. But to be fair, I thought the rebooted version did more, and I thought it was better for it, and I was a big fan of it. But to be fair, for Ghostbusters to move on, it has to release this. They have to have Bill Murray, Ernie Hudson, Dan Aykroyd's back.
Yes, because obviously Harold Ramis is dead and
he's sadly no longer with us. But we know from the trailer that the character Egon is the grandfather of the
Finn Wolfhard, isn't it? Yeah,
and of him and his sister, and she discovers in the trailer, the Egon, the suit,
the overalls,
and but in my opinion, people in this day want to see nostalgia is a massive thing. Apart like what Cobra Kai are doing currently with the Karate Kid. It's bringing back a fan base and people are buzzing for it. And what they've got to do, and I hope they do, and I think they will, I don't know what capacity, but they've got to have, the remaining 3 Ghostbusters suited up, ready to fight the ghosts. And that, I think people then can move on and create another universe for Ghostbusters. Because right now, as it is, if we walk out and we don't see those 3 guys in that movie, in their Ghostbuster suit, making us relive our youth, then we're not going to technically watch. We're not going to be satisfied, basically. That's what I feel.
Well, you got cameos from the 3 in the girls' Ghostbuster, didn't you?
You did, yeah.
Obviously, Ernie Hudson was one of the girls' uncles.
Yeah.
And then Bill Murray was the critic, and Dan Aykroyd was the taxi driver, wasn't he? Yeah.
He even says, was it? He does actually say a line from.
I can't remember. It was very meta.
Yeah, it was very a line, and but I really do. Like I say, because I'm a massive fan of nostalgia, I like to watch all the movies, rewatch the films that I grew up on as a kid. Ghostbusters was a big part of my life. A lot of kids owned the Ecto-1 when we were growing up, and now a lot of children are getting to sort of relive it through Lego, and so I am looking forward to seeing what they do. I hope, because Ivan Reitman's involved, he's producing it, his own son Jason is directing it. So I think they're gonna do it right. Not to say that the female version did not do it right. It did,
I liked it.
But it was just a different story. People wanted the original Ghostbusters, and they didn't get it, and that's why I personally think they hated it. But if they do that with this one, they can then correct it, so to speak, and make it a movie that we all want, and then we can all move on, and then they can do whatever they want with the franchise.
Do you think it's going to be the case of this will be like the old Ghostbusters last film, they'll pass it down to a new generation?
Yeah, because
I think that's where they're going with it.
Yeah, I mean, Paul Rudd is in Ghostbusters Afterlife. I think he plays the teacher of the kids in the movie, and he's the one who says, it's a ghost trap in the film. And I just really believe that if they just focus on getting that nostalgia, keeping the fans happy, they can make whatever they want. Because I think if they had the 3 members who are left doing all the Ghostbusters stuff, that's it. Because if they did more films down the line, they don't want to see them again and again and again. No. Because then it's not special anymore.
No.
They want to see that special little injection of
comeback.
Nostalgia.
They want to see the comeback, don't they?
And then it's done. We can all sit back and go, that was amazing. Good, you look back at your life and spitting everywhere, and you look back at your childhood again and you're happy. And I think that's the vibe they're going for. And I think they are going to have them in the movie as their characters. In what capacity, I don't know, but I really hope it's them going all guns blazing.
That's what I hope, yeah.
But I don't know.
That's Who de Gras.
Sigourney Weaver's even going to be in it.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. I knew that, yeah.
She's on the cast. I think she was the first to be announced for coming back.
She playing Dana then?
Yeah, Dana. Rick Moranis is sadly not coming back.
Well, he got back into movies recently, hasn't he?
I think, but unless it's the best kept secret ever.
I hope so.
It could be a cameo, but Annie Potts, who played Janine.
I was going to say, is Janine?
She's in it.
Is she? How cool.
But again, how? I don't know. But what was your first?
Candyman. Which was, again, meant to be out this year. Oh, last year now, sorry. We're in 2021.
Yeah, Ghostbusters was meant to be out, I think, March last year.
Oh, was it? I didn't know that. I
thought
thought
quite shocking how long ago. I think it was, I'm sure it was March 2020 or... No, it wasn't actually, because COVID happened in March.
Right.
It was definitely in the summertime, but again, Candyman was meant to be in May, wasn't it?
Yeah. And I'm really excited about it because Jordan Peele's involved in it.
Yeah.
And obviously Get Out and Us, they're great films.
Yeah. When I saw the trailer, I saw I mean, luckily it's not. It's obviously a reboot, but it's also a continuation of the story.
Because Tony Todd's in it, isn't he?
Yeah.
Is he Candyman? I've not looked loads into it. Is he playing the Candyman?
He must do, because I think if he didn't have like
Daniel Robitaille, I think his real name is in the films and the lore.
I don't know if he actually. Yeah, I think he would be in it. He was actually meant to come to the For Love of Horror.
He was,
and apparently he pulled out because of filming. Now I'm guessing the filming was for that movie.
Oh.
Which might tickle your taste buds.
It did tickle my fancy.
But yeah, I think whatever they do, Candyman is a fantastic film.
The first one is. Have you ever seen the sequels?
I've never seen Day of the Dead. Is Day of the Dead?
I think that's the third one.
And then the second one I've not seen. I've not seen the second one.
No, they're not good.
But the first one is.
The first one's a classic.
Well, I only saw the first one about a few years ago.
Oh.
Because again, as I've said before, I haven't grown up on horror films, so I'm catching up still. But when I watch Candyman, it's a film, and even though I loved it, I just was told not to go anywhere near the sequels.
No, they're not great.
I've kept to that, but I will go and watch the new one because I'm like you, Jordan Peele.
Yeah, he's just so good. He hasn't directed it, has he? It's a woman that's directed it.
Yes.
I can't remember her name.
No,
I think Jordan Peele's produced it though, hasn't he? I think
he's sort of like, I think he's
overseen
got
things.
enough clout.
So yeah, I'm very excited about that, mainly because I just think Candyman lore should have a better tenure than the three films. The first one, amazing, but the other two do it no justice, and I hate that about it.
Yeah, like I say, it's because it's Clive Barker, isn't it? And
yeah, but he only did a short story, didn't he? It's not that long.
It's based in Toxteth, isn't it, in Liverpool?
If you could pick one film out of your three that would definitely come out, which one would you want to see the most?
Afterlife, Ghostbusters,
yeah.
Because
obviously that's your number one.
That's number one, but it's because it was hyped last year.
Yeah.
And now we're not getting it till the summer this year. It feels like it's been a long time to wait, and I want to just get it done. Just bathe in the
the glory,
of just of our past, and that would be my one film.
What I want to talk about next is that over the next few weeks we will be announcing some guests that we've got, which is pretty cool. We've got some great plans coming for the next few weeks and the next year really.
Yeah.
Hopefully as long as we can do this. So yeah. Thanks for watching. I've been with my mate Rob.
And Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year to everyone, yeah.
See you
Thank
soon.
you.